One of the first ways to begin getting competent with the drum editor, and really any editor in Cubase, is to learn what's available on that editor's toolbar. If we look at the top of this drum editor, we can see that there's all kinds of buttons all along the center area, and they stretch all across the top and finally go over into the area where you can choose what zones you want to open up and other ways you can customize the window itself. If you know the operation of every button up here, then you will know how to handle whatever editing task that you're trying to accomplish in your projects in general. Now, the funny thing about it, it gives you so many options up here with so many powerful features. Learning what everything is can be completely overwhelming. One thing I recommend to anyone I'm trying to guide into learning about this is to take control of these toolbars so you can set them up the way you need to and change them as you find necessary. If you right-click in any blank area, and if you have no blank areas, just go between some of these existing pictures, you will get this master list of all the different buttons that are available. When you first open it, you'll see some of these are checked, other ones are unchecked. If they're unchecked, then they're not in view on the toolbar. You have an option at the bottom to show all, and if you want to see something that's completely overwhelming, click on that option, and your toolbar will fill up with every possible button and option that's available. So much so that some of the buttons will not be able to be in view. So again, my recommendation when you're first getting into this, or even just as a general workflow, right-click in this area and uncheck every selection except the very last one. They've set this up now that if you uncheck everything, it will just reset its view again and all your buttons will come back. But once you've eliminated everything except one button at the bottom, come down to this area that says Preset, choose the option to save a preset. I recommend calling it Empty, hit OK, and then you can quickly at any time change this view by coming down to the option that says Reset All, which will put all your default buttons back into view, or right-click, come down to your presets, and now choose your newly created empty preset, and you have a clear workspace to now customize and add whatever buttons you want to look at any given time. A great little exercise to test your knowledge and skills in the drum editor is to now take 5 buttons at a time from this list and see if you actually know what they do. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take the first one that says Keep the Editor Contents, the Solo Feedback, Retrospective Record, Left Divider, and finally Pitch Visibility. And close this out. And now you will notice I have some buttons over here on the left, and I have some buttons here in the center. The reason there's a gap like this is because one of the buttons we selected, there's one right here that says Left Divider. There's also one at the bottom that says the Right Divider. This space is caused by that left divider, and everything before it is put over here on the left. If we put in the right divider and then add some more buttons, they would have a space and then go over on the right. It's a way to help you organize the toolbar and keep things in view the way you want them. I'm going to switch over to the lower zone for a second. And then let's look at our first button. We have this one that says Keep the Editor Contents. Looks like a little pin. This is a fairly new option in Cubase. When this option is off, as we select different events, our editor is going to follow what becomes visual. But if we turn this little pin on, no matter what else we choose out in the project, our drum editor stays in view. Our next button from the list has an S on it, stands for the Solo Editor. When this button is off, if you have other music in your project, everything gets played. But if we turn this button on, this allows us to hear just the notes in our drum editor without the background music. Now this button, like many of the buttons, also has extra options. There's a little drop down. We hit that. We can see that we can solo all the parts or just solo things that follow the part editing mode. Now the part editing mode is another button, but we haven't gotten to that yet, so we're not going to talk about that one right now. The next option we have here shows a number 1. Currently it's grayed out. The reason it's grayed out, if we hover over the button, it says that it requires a drum map. All of your Groove Agent kits already have drum maps ready for them. If you look at the bottom of your editor, you have this option that says Map, and right now it says No Drum Map. But if I click on that, I have an option to create a drum map from the instrument. Cubase then fills in everything you need. which basically assigns the right names to the instruments. For example, this one says snare, so if I hit this note, I hear a snare. This one says kick, so if I hit a note, I hear kick. There's no solo buttons in the editor, but now our number 1 has lit up, and what this allows us to do if we turn it on is solo any particular note or sound by simply selecting it. Right now the kick is selected, so if I play the part, if I come down to the snare and select that, I'm going to hear just the snare. The nice thing about this option, you can also just select an individual note or group of notes, and it will automatically solo it for you, which allows you to get right to changing the note or making some kind of edit if you want to. The next one on our list is this button that says record in the editor. When this is off, even if you hit your normal transport record and play something, it's not going to show up in the editor. But if we turn this button on, now we can record and see things show up in our editor. Moving on from that one, we have this button that says Retrospective Recording. And once again, it's grayed out. The idea of retrospective recording, sometimes you capture the perfect take before you've even hit the record button. For example, if I just play this loop and then play my hi-hat, because I didn't hit record, I have no information. But if I look at my retrospective, that's now lit up, and if I hit that button, all those hi-hats that I just played are now part of the pattern. And then our last button from this group, as we move over to the middle, we have the option for pitch visibility. You turn this on or off, and again, it has a drop-down list. You can see drum sounds with events, or you can see the drum sounds used by the instrument. You can also reverse the drum sounds. When we show drum sounds used by the instrument, then not only do we see what we've recorded, but we see all this extra space with all the other available instruments in case we want to add extra parts. But if we want to scale down this view to make it easier when we want to edit things, if we change over to the option that says show the drum sounds with events, now we get a real easy to navigate view. It shows only our recorded parts, making it very easy to zero in on those and once again make changes or any kind of edits that we want. So that's how to operate the first 5 buttons. Now I throw this challenge out to you. Continue this for yourself. Go back to your master list, add 5 more from these choices, and see how well you do with knowing how to operate them and use them in your editing and musical productions. And soon you will discover that experience that so many people have, where you find yourself going, I didn't even know Cubase could do that, and I've been using it for so many years. And if you want some help figuring out what all these buttons do, along with training on all the different features and functions in this drum editor, be sure to click the link in the description of this video or stop by the digitalaudiomanual.com for more information. My name is Andrew Blake. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.